Adriani Mihalceanu. He's a published science fiction writer and he has worked for top-level Romanian and multinational companies, and he will speak about a global league of sustainable cities.
Hello everyone. I think that you really enjoyed those kids singing. They sang amazing. But do you know what's more amazing? They will reach and see the year 2100. Yeah, that's amazing. But it's up to us to see how they will live until that. And I have a practical proposal for solving some of the humanity's worst problems. It's called a League of Cities. Why a League of Cities? Cities are the world's biggest polluters. Many of the global problems we currently face, from climate change to political violence, start at the city level. However, cities also came up with some of the best and most efficient ways to fight these problems much faster than nations. A change here has a substantial impact. What is the League of Cities? It's an organization that brings together cities as a team. The League uses a body of experts to define mandatory and synchronized policies for its members, has a unified budget for its pledged by each city, and uses it to invest in technology, pilot programs, and big-scale projects to address global risks. It also creates a public knowledge database with best practices. My model can be either adopted as an upgrade by an existing organization or developed with the cities that already are sustainability pioneers. It can be eventually expanded to entire nations. How does it work? The experts are selected with the help of organizations like the UN Environment, IUCN, C40, ICLEI, and others. They are organized in regional teams to better suit specific regional needs. The League's General Assembly and governing body are formed by mayors or other representatives with a clear mandate from their cities. Decisions are usually made with simple majorities. Members voluntarily agree to policies and goals from the League and are responsible for observing the agreements they enter. Some flexibility is allowed, but members that constantly miss their target lose their status within the League or even their membership. Cities must also pledge a percentage of their annual budget, for example, 5%. It's a small enough amount to avoid long political discussions, but sufficient to be a very powerful tool for change. 70% of this money remains at the city level, but is dedicated to sustainability projects required by the League, certified by it, and developed according to its best practices. 30% would be used by the League to function and to create an investment organism able to fund big-scale programs for mitigating global risks. This is not an aid fund. It brings back solutions and money from the patents and tech developed. This is one of the League's main advantages. It exits the donor model and enters an investment one. Nobody likes taxes, everyone loves to invest. What the League will do? It will define roadmaps, policies, tools, and best practices to assess risks, dramatically reduce our CO2 emissions, preserve biodiversity, and raise people from poverty. It will apply these in a synchronized yet adapted manner all across the globe. It will also fund the clean tech and projects we need to rapidly reduce our impact on the environment. It will fund poor local communities to develop sustainable business models that, for example, stop deforestation and waste while lifting them from poverty. It will partner with big companies in financing a fast-growing green market, eventually on par with what we currently spend on weapons. The League's principles and policies cover the entire way its members manage their local governance, not only the 5% pledged. Fast, sustained, coordinated action at the local level would have a sizable global impact on billions of people. How to implement it? The League can start as an upgrade for willing cities in C40 or ICLEI. We can start with pioneers, others will join later. its viability is ensured by the fact that it's a mechanism that chips away a minor part of local government sovereignty. So it doesn't require long political debates, but it uses this bridgehead to mobilize the money required to fund itself and the best experts, practices, and projects for fast and synchronized global action. Thank you.
Yeah. A Global League of Sustainable Cities. Thank you very much. So let's see if the jury has some questions. Folke.
Yes, hello Adrian, and thank you for this presentation. I want you to elaborate a little bit on the differences between your proposal and the already existing networks, such as you mentioned, C40. What's the new thing here? What's your contribution? And also, perhaps you could say a little bit about how this new league is going to interact with the already existing ones, and also with other elements of the present system of global governance.
Okay, first it's a difference in scope. It doesn't cover only climate change. It also covers biodiversity, poverty, violence, and other elements that are specific not only to the rural, to the urban environment, but also in a much broader area around the city. Second of all, it differs by an order of magnitude as regarding the money involved. A donor model, like there are many, can only provide an amount of funding, $200 million per year, for example, for C40 cities. We will start with around 6 billion, out of which 2 billion would be invested directly by the League, and this with only 40 cities with more than 5 million population each. Third, we have much greater integration, and the model is upside down. It's not the politicians that decide for that small amount of money of each city. They are the experts that do the research, assess the risks, create with other experts policies and roadmaps. So the politicians will actually choose from some of those policies and of the actions on those roadmaps and implement them. That's the idea. Sorry, I forgot your second question. I remembered it, sorry. It will start, in my opinion, by collaborating first with C4 Cities and ICLEI, which are two tremendous successful organizations, and see if they are willing to upgrade. If cities, pioneer cities from those organizations are willing to join this model and then go forward, collaborating also with the World Bank and collaborating also with other existing organizations, like I said, IUCN or UN Environment, because they can vouch for the experts. The experts are the most important in my system. So yes, it's just a model that can be replicated afterwards at a national level. That's its goal. But it has to succeed first at a city level, because it's much easier at a city level.
And we have time for a quick question from Julia as well.
Thank you very much. Adrian, thanks for telling us about solutions, because at first it seems like you're maybe setting up another bureaucracy. But you talked about solutions, and here I have a question from you. So how does your Global League address the tendency for cities to occupy land outside their borders, what we call land grab, therefore undermining the possibility of nature to provide its services to its citizens?
Well, at first, you have to understand that a roadmap is designed by the experts. So they will propose a best solution for cities to actually involve urban deltas or forests that are covering our surrounding cities, to actually give value to them and preserve them. And their whole food and energy and transport system would have to be adapted to balance this situation. And in developing countries, it's even more important, because they would prevent deforestation, but enabling small businesses to flourish outside of the cow feeding system and intensive agricultural feeding, and making them more profitable and then solving another cascade of problems.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank